a like on Facebook at facebook.com/Cuse Nation Podcast.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Nation Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. 5-star review wouldn't hurt either. A programming alert. We are going to be changing the show name, and the reason is because that way then we'll have all of our the website, the Twitter account, and Facebook, and the show will all be able to match.
It'll be the same for once.
It'll be the same instead of 3-4 different things, and that way there we can just kind of brand ourselves. I didn't think the show was really, we were just playing around with it at first, called the Cuse Nation Podcast, because it's a good fan thing to go by, and it's something we use on Twitter and stuff like that. But it's not ours. I never tried to claim it to be ours or anything like that. But we're just gonna do our own thing and brand ourselves with something else. So the show will not change. None of the content of the show will change. But it's just the name. That will be the name in the logo you see will be different, and that is literally it. That's the only thing that's going to change. So that way there we can do our thing. All right. Since we were here last time, we were still up in the air about Tyus Battle. We speculated he would go at least to the combine, and he got his invite to the combine.
And not sign an agent. Yep.
And not sign an agent, and that's exactly what he did, right? So now for our next predictions. Tyus is gone. Tyus has been preparing for this, and I don't think he's going to have some stiff competition. There's no doubt about it. But he's prepared, and I think if he's projected to go in the first round, and he impresses enough people, I'm sure he'll get the feel for it one way or the other. I think he goes. So.
I think with him, it's more of a pride thing. It all depends on how he plays against the other players, comparable position players. I think that the kid's humble enough to realize if he's outmatched, and if there's going to be 10 to 12 shooting guards better than him, then it's probably not worth going. And I mean, obviously, the fact that he likes Syracuse and he wouldn't mind coming back, probably doesn't hurt either. So again, it just comes down to what he does in the combine, so we'll have to wait and see. He's definitely something to keep an eye on, but there was an article on Syracuse.com talking about some of the things that Tyus Battle are going to have to prove to NBA teams during the combine that he can actually do a little bit better in three-point shooting, dribbling with his left hand, finishing around the rim with his left hand, some of the things like that were some of the things that I remembered. But again, he's one of those fringe guys where now he's going to be playing against nothing but stiff competition, and how he competes against them is going to be big. So I wouldn't go as fast as you and say he's gone. If he goes out there and balls out and he plays just as good as most of them, then I'd say he's gone. But
yeah, well, we'll see. I just feel he's good enough to go. I think he's obviously been preparing for this. He's been preparing for this in the Mello Center, even long before, obviously. And that he announced, but we'll just have to wait and see. And like you said, the thing about Tyus is that he's honest enough with himself to get a good feel once he's out there and everything. I think he's honest enough to himself to realize if he's gonna be able to be drafted in the first round or not.
Yeah.
So
and there was a plan put in place, most likely probably before the season even started. Boeheim, he'll tell his players when he thinks they're ready or if they should go and kind of check it out and just test the waters. Because, again, some of these coaches, they encourage them to go there without – I mean, if you have to remember Malachi Richardson, Tyler Lydon, and now Tyus Battle, 3 in a row here where Boeheim kind of encouraged them to go in there but without an agent and kind of see where you fit and test the waters and go through the whole experience. So I think that was going to happen no matter what. As soon as the season was over, he was going to start working out for the NBA combine and seeing what's up. But again, like I said, he's a kid where I don't think money is an issue, and him not liking school is not an issue. And again, he's a very humble kid. So I think it just comes down to what he does at the combine.
Yeah, and also, since we were so that wraps up Tyus. We'll just have to wait and see. May 29th is the next date. So
yep,
we'll know by then. So Bryce Golden, we were kind of high on Bryce Golden. I really thought we had this guy.
Yeah.
But he chose Butler, as you probably already know. And that position is one I'd like to see filled because of who we've got there. Not because of the talent we got there, but because we only have two guys that are really going to play it. They're looking at this Braswell, this center Osun, but as far as forwards go, it's Braswell right now. But you've still got grad transfers.
Yep.
That are a possibility. So
Braswell would be good.
Braswell would be good because he would be someone good that could fill the minutes if he needed to. Plus, I think he's a long-term player. I mean, he could be there, 3-4 years. Yeah. So he's a little small. He probably needs some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, as we always say about the small guys like Dolezaj.
They usually are coming out of high school.
Yeah.
I mean, Golden was more physically ready, but Braswell could be the better player after 3 years, developing stuff like that. So I don't think it's really as important as who we get right now as much as, Elijah Hughes going down being, he ties battle height, 6'6", around there. Like, Boeheim's going to have him playing small forward sometimes just because of the amount of talent and for scoring. But when it comes down to defense and possibly starting the game and end of the game stuff, he doesn't want to have a 6'6" guy down in the wing the whole game. So, and Merrick and Brissett would be the only other guys. So I just think that we need to fill that spot because Elijah Hughes is going to play some guard too.
Yeah, well, especially if Tyus doesn't come back, he's going to have to.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's the one thing. If Tyus comes back, then Elijah Hughes is going to be forced into getting a majority of his minutes down playing small forward. But then that's going to make us small on the defensive rebounding end. And we have struggled on the offensive, giving away offensive rebounds. Maybe not last year, but in the recent, past.
Yeah. So Braswell, he's listed at 6'9", 190. A little, like we said, a little thin, but they call him a shooting forward, a sharp shooting forward is actually how 247 Sports had listed him as. And he was ranked nationally 228th, but 51st for power forwards. So in that, and the other schools that were interested in him were UMass,
right?
Fordham, James Madison.
Isn't Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State, ODU.
Yeah.
Creighton.
Well, because he's raw. Yeah. But like I said, that's why I compared him to like a James Sutherland, and that's kind of what he looks like. James Sutherland, the last 2 years of eligibility, he actually came on and played pretty well. Athletic guy that can jump, play the wing, but, he's a shooter. Once he puts it all together, imagine if Merrick could go stand outside on the three-point line last year so that they couldn't double our drivers every single time, and Merrick could just sit there and hit threes. Like, that's what you're looking for, and that's what they're looking for in Braswell. If he can come in and play the wing and be that person for 5 to 7 minutes, so Merrick and Brissett and those guys can get some rest, then that's all they need. But they need somebody that can do that. Yeah,
and he, they're saying he's got a hell of a jump shot. He's got great hands, and he can, he's got nice touch inside too. So,
he's athletic. He can block some shots.
And mobile.
So in defense, he's 5 fouls. He can go out there and block some shots. But
exactly. So another one that would cross the radar, I guess, is Khalif Battle, who's Tyus' little brother. I never really gave this serious thought, and I don't think anybody else really did, but Syracuse did offer him. I think that's kind of like a courtesy thing because they know the family and everything.
Well, there was an article back when he was when Battle was a freshman and Khalif was in high school, and they were talking about it, and they talked about how they offered him. And Khalif said that he liked it, but even back then it kind of seemed like he was kind of his own person, not trying to follow, any type of legacy type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going to Butler. So
Bryce Golden's going to Butler.
Yeah, it's like, okay, all right, I see what's going on here.
Jordan Tucker went to Butler.
That's right, and he's going to finally get – oh, wait, no, he's got to sit out another year, right?
I don't know, because I don't know how much he played at Duke. So, and I know he announced his transfer while the season was going on. So if he never played, then maybe technically this could count as his red shirt. Because I think by – the second semester he was there, or the winter.
It's 7 games. It's 7 games if you play in 7 games.
I mean, we know who we'd have to ask for that because we don't have that information right now. But
right,
I'd guess he most likely, because it's the NCAA and they don't care about the kids, will probably have to sit out next year.
yeah, right. So, okay, so I just wanted to get that in. That's a great family. Gary Battle and their mom, and obviously you see it in Tyus. I mean, they're just good. They raise some good kids, those two.
Good people.
Yeah,
good people.
Definitely. So, all right. We talked about Braswell, Golden, Cleef. All right. Now this Osun. You want to try his last name? Why do we always got to get these recruits with these funky last names? I always have trouble pronouncing.
Osiniyi. That's what I would guess.
Osun. Osunini. I said I wasn't going to try it.
Osuniyi. Because there's a E and then a E. I don't know. I have no idea. That's what I'd guess. I'm just gonna call him Osun.
I'm gonna call him Double O.
Okay, we can do that too. Double O. Double O Sun.
6'10" center. Okay. He's coming to visit Thursday. He was a former LaSalle commit, but after their coach was fired in March, he decided to get back into the recruiting pool. So, according to Syracuse.com, Georgetown, Maryland, St. Bonaventure are also interested. He's going to visit St. Bonaventure, actually, before he comes to Syracuse here on Thursday. And he's a late bloomer. I think he was 6'1" his freshman, when he was a freshman in high school, and he's now 6'10", so
yeah,
he got the height on him.
Well, and that's around when he picked up basketball, too, 8th, 9th grade.
Wow, that's
amazing. He
amazing.
didn't play basketball before,
he's a great inside guy. He's there was only a couple videos I found on him, and the one that was the best that I saw, it looked like it came from his YouTube page. I posted it at CuseMilitia.com. But he's a good finishing it on the inside and great blocker. I mean, He
looks athletic, but again, just raw.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he also has played a year after he graduated in 2017.
He went to a prep school after, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So
he's raw, but he's 6'10", he's athletic, and
6'10", 185.
And that's exactly what we do as far as plugging in the middle of that zone. So
yeah, and there's no real good profile on him. Nobody has one. ESPN still has him committed to LaSalle, as they are just on top of everything, ESPN. And the only one I found was verbalcommits.com, and they just have him listed as a 2-star. So
right, and again, this is the kind of the luxury that we have, and the stuff that Boeheim used to do all the time when we had full scholarships, and that's be able to find these maybe possible diamonds in the rough. And
yeah, it looks like there's 2 of them on the radar. I mean, really.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, this guy, realistically, these last couple of years having sanctions and not these scholarships, like, there's no way that he would put a scholarship up, and I don't think they have offered him yet. But again, that's just the luxury of having a full roster of scholarships, and now he's going to have a son on the team to where they can kind of play with that walk-on scholarship position, so he can go and he can get guys that he might think he can develop in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, because when you pop those guys in there, then you have the upper advantage to those teams that have to just refill their teams every year.
So with Osun, if he was to commit, and we were to get him next year, would he likely redshirt because Chukwu's a senior, but we already have 2. We'll have 2 healthy centers going into next year. Do you think he redshirts?
I would assume so. Yeah. I mean, I believe it'd be one of those things where it would just come down to whether or not they needed him or not. They might redshirt him, but you never know with the history of health between Chukwu and Sidibe for the amount of time that they've been here. Can't really guarantee a red shirt, so
right.
It could be one of those things where they plan on redshirting them, but let's wait to see what happens with these guys' health. But as long as Sidibe and Chukwu are healthy, those are going to be the 2 guys in the rotation, and Osun would not get minutes, so therefore he would redshirt. In Boeheim's eyes, that's probably what he'd want to do, but again, he's more like the in case of emergency break glass kind of thing.
Right, and not only that, but is he gonna commit to a place that he's gonna have to sit for a year? I mean, kids aren't really looking to do that all the time, and he's already played a year of prep school, and they won the championship. He was the MVP of the game. I believe they won the game in overtime. He scored 27 points. I mean, he probably wants to play, you know?
You're right.
So,
but I mean, Boeheim, I think he's one of those guys where if you can play, then he's going to give you the minutes. He's going to give you the opportunity. So
yeah, absolutely. So, all right, well, I guess that's really all I got as far as recruiting stuff. Any kind of scenarios you see you want to play around with to finish up?
I'm still questioning on whether or not we're going to end up getting a graduate senior. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. I know there was a couple articles about some of the graduate seniors that Syracuse should look for towards like power forward stuff like that. I still don't know if Ryan Luther had made a decision on anything or a Kenneth Smart or any guys like that. But a lot of times graduate seniors, they wait until the draft comes around, May 29th, where they wait to see which kids are coming back, pulling their names out of the draft and coming back to school and looking at depth charts, different schools and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's not going to be a graduate senior possibly in the horizon we're looking at anyway, just in case. But I still do believe that, obviously, they like Braswell. But if they have a chance to get a guy like a Ryan Luther or a guy that's been a 3 or 4 year player at a decent program to play over Braswell.
That's ideal. And
that's ideal, yeah.
Short term right now, I think, in the situation we're in, it'd be nice to get some experience there. But
we have room to do all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
We have enough scholarships. We could get Braswell, we could get O'Sun, and we can get a graduate transfer, and we'd still be fine.
Exactly. And
if it was close, then Buddy Boeheim could go as a walk-on, and we would be fine anyway. So
yeah,
this is the first year. This is the first year of finally getting all our scholarships back, and he's trying to get some guys that he can get in and be 3, 4, 5 year players that can kind of bulk this depth of this team back up.
Yep. So. All right, that's all we got for. I'm sure we'll be back again, probably once we figure out what Tyus Battle's going to do, and there'll be more stuff breaking. I'm sure there'll be more recruits coming, and maybe we'll have more stuff on maybe even a grad transfer here by the time Tyus has to make his decision. So.
And there'll be a bunch of write-ups about what's going on in the combine and who's doing well and stuff like that. So
yeah, and we'll keep you as well posted as we can at CuseMilitia.com. So and all that stuff's posted to Facebook and Twitter. All right, moving on. We got a little bit of football talk.
What else happened?
Well, yeah, right.
What else happened the past 3 weeks?
I know. I feel it does kind of suck waiting 3 weeks to when we were during the basketball season. We were coming on 2-3 times a week to podcast, and it was full packed. Now we're like sitting around, kind of waiting for things to fall in our lap to talk.
Well, no one wants to listen to us talk about nothing. So
exactly. Well, you'd be surprised.
Or the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Well, some of the podcasts I've listened to, maybe it's popular because it's what they do. So, anyway,
not my style.
Yeah, I know. Former Texas A&M offensive tackle Coda Martin is going to join us this upcoming season as a grad transfer. 6'6", 310 pounds.
Great pickup.
Started 14 games for Texas A&M over the last 2 years. His father is Kirk Martin, who is the quarterback coach for SU, and his father-in-law is none other than Dino Babers. So he will join us for a year. What do you think, Joe? That's a much-needed spot, too. As far as the offensive line goes, yeah. So kind of.
That's a great. I mean, that's a guy that if he started 14 games the last 2 years at Texas A&M, I'm assuming he's gonna be able to step right in and be a starter.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if he came right in, took the left tackle spot, and then Cody Conway got moved over to the right tackle, and it just bolsters our line. And hopefully this is the type of push that we can need to kind of get our running game and help protect Dungy to get us over the hump. Because he might need a little bit more time this year with the younger receivers, and our running game's definitely got to get better to help that too. So
yeah, he's got his wheels though too. He don't wait around.
No, he's got his wheels, but
his wheels are burning.
As we can see,
Never, like we were just talking about before we started the show, was he's never played a full season. So.
Right, and then how great would it be? You get some guy like this to come in and he comes in and actually his senior year plays a full year, because I'm telling you right now, with the way he knows that offense and the stats he's put up since Babers has come, I mean, you're talking about. I mean, I'm not saying he'll win the Heisman, but you'd be able to put the numbers right next to the Heisman quarterbacks
next year.
I'll guarantee you.
Really?
Between his rushing and his passing, because of the system.
Yeah. If he stays
it
healthy,
happened all the time.
You're assuming he stays healthy all year.
If he stays healthy, I'm saying.
Yeah.
You used to see it all the time. The Texas A&M, Mike Leach's quarterbacks, because of his air raid and he just throw. They never came close to being Heisman candidates this and that, but they would throw for a ridiculous amount of yards and a just ridiculous amount of touchdowns, and they really didn't get the credit for it because of the system. So it's just kind of what happens, and because they didn't win, go to huge bowl games. But we'll it would be great to see him stay healthy, but also there's always that intrigue of what DeVito is going to look like in live action. So
when you're someone like Dungy, who has spent time in a splint and spent walking boots and been out.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure he played the rest of that Florida State game with a broken foot, and they almost won.
Was it Florida State or Miami?
No, was it Miami? It was one of the two. I don't know which one was first.
Miami was the game where he was just like, people were picking him up off the ground to get him back to the scrimmage.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then that was it.
Yeah.
And then he had season-ending surgery after that game, so it just tells you what.
Just like no quitting the guy. He's got like, I
guess that's why he was doing flying knee kicks that game, because.
Yeah.
He didn't care about getting suspended because he knew it was his last game.
Was that the same game?
Miami was the one where he jumped in the air twice, leading with his knee, running people over and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
He was on something.
Yeah,
he was on some stuff that game. I'll tell you what, and that was heroic.
Yeah, dude, it was kind of crazy. I mean, he was so much fun to watch last year. I mean, he's always fun, not just last year, but the year before too. But sometimes you cringe, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're like, go, yes, do it. You know what I mean? And you're just like, because he gets hurt, but he's resilient. He's going to be in there for the game at least.
Yeah. But it's awesome because you're just like, yes, he's willing to do that for me. Yes.
Yeah, right. And we were just so close to getting a bowl game where you're kind of thinking, if we could get this game, that Miami game was close. I mean, we were in that game
there's a lot of close games. We were right. LSU was close.
Yeah,
I mean, but Riley doesn't drop that pass in the end zone, we could probably win that game. So, I mean, there's a lot of games against great competition where we were right there. There. So, I mean, 4-8 looked bad, but I don't think it, we've talked about it before, and it was at the end of the year, we talked about it, but they were better than a 4-8 team based upon their strength of schedule and how they played those games and with their injuries.
I think so.
I'm sorry.
It was the last. It was Dungy going out, just pretty much canned the year. It was kind of like it affected the defense too. The defense was strong pretty much all the way until
it's depth. Favors has got to get to a point where we can't use injuries. Injuries is the reason why we lose.
Yeah, he's finally now starting to work his recruits in the majority. So,
this is going to be the test because since we've had Dungy, every time he's gotten hurt, we have not had anybody. I mean, it's basically he gets hurt, and that's why we lost. So, if he gets hurt and DeVito comes in and we win a couple games, then that would actually kind of complete this, almost like it would be completing a circle,
Yeah, and
of what Babers wants. So
I like that DeVito kid too. So I feel very comfortable with him as a backup. Put it that way, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but there's been so much hype. That's why.
I know.
We haven't really
but
seen him in the action.
You can go watch him on YouTube, though. I mean, he's got some good
but
live stuff. He's got some good live stuff, though, unedited. As far as target practice with the football and stuff like that, which is big. That's key. So, all right.
Yeah, that's true. He's pretty accurate. So.
Yeah, he's wicked accurate. All right. Despite all the drama, Syracuse will make the NCAA tournament in lacrosse. They'll face off against 9-seed Cornell at 7:15 this Sunday. They'll be an 8 seed. They lost against Cornell early in the year, April 10th, 13-8. So there was drama about them not making it, but I mean they were ranked as high as 7th this season. I think when the season wrapped up, they were still in the top 10, maybe not.
No, I don't know if they were, but when you look at their schedule, they make a big deal about what they say. They lost the first round of the ACC tournament, right? Well,
yeah,
the regular season they went 4-0 and they beat everybody in the ACC. Right. So, and then as far as the other, they don't look at their non-conference schedule and see what type of teams they played. So they had a very, very tough strength of schedule, and they beat Army was number 9, Virginia number 5 when they beat them. Duke was number 3, Notre Dame number 6. So
and they beat UNC was unranked when they beat them, but
UNC was unranked, but yeah. So and I think UNC might be the only ACC team that didn't make the tournament actually, but even some of their losses, most of their losses came from, they had a bad game against Johns Hopkins. They lost the game against Rutgers, which usually doesn't happen. Second game of the season, they lost to Albany at the Dome, but right. Albany was number 3, so they're a good team. So overall, when you look at their strength of schedule as far as who they played, they didn't really have too many pushovers. Most of the teams they played were ranked. So
Albany had a spread in Lacrosse magazine.
Yeah.
This month. So, yeah, and there's a lot of hype around Albany. So yeah, we get a chance to come back, and you saw what happened. We came out and we lost to Virginia after we beat Virginia in the regular season. We lost to Virginia 10-11 right at the end of the game in the first round of the ACC tournament. And we came back. We had a game right in between, and just it's that one game before the tournament. I think it was on Saturday, and the game the selection show was on Sunday, but they beat Colgate this past Saturday 17-5, and I think now that they're in and they see they get a chance to play home and get a rematch against Cornell, I think they're pretty hyped up to get this tournament going. So I like our chances to get redemption in this one. It's fun. It's fun to watch. So.
Oh yeah, once the tournament starts, it's definitely fun to watch. It's getting there,
It's a short season, though. Really.
Oh yeah, it goes fast, and,
it does.
I think eventually, as the sport grows, I think the tournament's going to end up growing. I think some of the conferences are going to end up growing. So I'm just hoping that it'll end up getting to a higher level. But just one of those things. You can already tell it's growing because of so many teams and. Are competitive now. It used to be there was only a handful of teams. Syracuse used to win national championships every other year.
I know it. And then Duke, they became competitive a few years back.
Oh yeah, and then the old Cornell coach moved out to Denver, and Denver's lacrosse program's been pretty good. So, there's just a lot of stuff going on. They're expanding all over the place. So, yeah,
and it's lacrosse is one of those sports where it's still really slow to catch on, especially for youth sports here in Virginia Beach. We had to join a league. Schools aren't really offering it. They're mostly clubs in schools, so it's a lacrosse club, and it's not really a formal sport. So it's still catching on. So it's one of those sports it's so much fun to watch. It's so much fun. I'm watching 11, 12-year-olds, my son playing, and it's a blast. It's a blast. And some of these kids, man, they're good. They're good. And Dylan's going to do a lacrosse camp and stuff this year. He's psyched about it. But, it's one of those sports, too, where it's one of the it's not easy. It's never easy to get a scholarship. But it's one of those sports where if you can play, you can get a scholarship.
Yeah, and that sport is still growing. And honestly, your thought process right there is, I didn't have the sport wasn't big enough with me, but that's one of the sports that I wish I would have played because I think exactly what you thought right there. The majority of the people, when you look at some of the people that come, there's a guy from North Carolina here, a guy from Texas here, this and that. But then you get, 10 to 20 guys just from CNY. They're going Division I every single year. So where we grew up in Syracuse, that's just a hotbed,
Yeah.
So if you can stand out and you can stick out no matter where you are, it's growing too. More and more colleges every single year are adding lacrosse.
Yeah, my cousin who grew up half in Syracuse and half here, and he got a collegiate scholarship for high school playing goalie, and then he went something like second team All-American or something like that, and then he went. He got a scholarship from UVA, and turned it down.
No.
turned it down to go to Philly U to chase his girlfriend. Who he later married, and they have kids and stuff now. So I guess whatever. But UVA, come on.
I guess his plan worked. But I get it.
So. But all right, well, that's
Let's
it.
hope for the best, man. Get through this first round, and then probably play Maryland.
Yeah, we're gonna be coming back again in a week or two to do our promised NCAA episode. Probably won't be a ton to talk about, but I mean, I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff coming out.
There is a lot of stuff coming out, but that's kind of like a bullet point thing. There's a lot of like unnecessary things going on with that, like the whole commission thing. You know what I'm saying? I want to stick to the important things. Looks like the one and done rule is going to be gone, so we'll get into that a little bit, or at least they're trying to push it out very hard. So, we'll get into that. So that's it. That's all we got. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
You just heard the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe.